Hi, Barbara Bush here. This is day 15, April 4th, sheltering in place in California and San Diego. It's been a few days since I've posted a video. I've been really busy, but I have been thinking about something very specifically, and that's flexibility, and taps into my ideas about optimism and resilience. But I've been thinking about flexibility because on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I've been joining a yoga class online with a friend of mine, Laurel. She leads it, great yoga instructor, and a few of us join her on Zoom from across the country. And we stretch in that yoga class. I am not a fan of stretching. I never have been. Even when I was a jock, I just prefer strength stuff and speed stuff and things that make my heart race and make my body sweat. The patience for stretching, I've just never had it, and I've never cultivated it. I tried to get to the quote important stuff, right? Though we know stretching is important, but I've always been told that. I just didn't. I would give it sort of like the and move on with what I wanted to do. Well, I can't do that with Laurel. She's a taskmaster. And that stretching has been so helpful. Like, I'm finding my joints are less painful. I feel stronger, actually. So it's supporting my strength work that I do. It's helping me find better balance. And it energizes me. I mean, all things I haven't really been expecting. Maybe I haven't been stretching correctly until now. But so these are really wonderful outcomes. Flexibility isn't just physical, right? We need right now emotional flexibility, and that's what this physical flexibility was making me think about, like all these benefits I hadn't expected. Well, in emotional flexibility, we need to have that too, and we kind of judge emotional flexibility. Maybe we think of it as being like a little flighty or untrustworthy, that you can be both angry and have joy. But emotional flexibility is holding all those things at the same time, just like when you're working on physical flexibility, right? You're in pain, but it also kind of feels good. You're stretching, you're pushing yourself, and then you're also accepting yourself where you are. And that's holding everything. And the same with emotional flexibility. It's freeing. It's a freeing experience. So even on the worst days, we can find joy. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. As the numbers mount and the awful stories continue and the political efforts are confusing at best at the national level, and at the worst make you question even whether this government is capable at all of running day-to-day business, let alone something like this, right? And yet there's joy. So in order to kind of nurture this emotional flexibility that I'm finding, that I've been able to tap into, I try to be aware of how I feel. And not judge it. And then I also try to lean into my feelings a little bit, fully experience them, stretching them. So when I'm sad or angry, concerned, I lean into that. I let it travel through my body, the tension in my shoulders, the stress in my stomach, my heart racing, and I find that awareness and I accept it, because I know on the other side of that, I will survive it, right? And have developed a better understanding of what I do in these times and who I am. I can't know who I am unless I allow myself these full range of experiences. So I'm doing that. Tons of self-care possibilities. Having them is part of emotional flexibility. I get to do self-care. First of all, kind of hate that term. Self-care seems kind of bougie, but what I mean by it is being aware of what you need. And I have a lot of possibilities, and some of them are fancier than others because I feel I have at this point, I have reached a place in my life where I have a partner who can provide some of those things. But it doesn't have to be sailing, which we can't do, by the way, anymore as of today. So the bay is closed. It can be walking. It can be sitting and snuggling with my dogs. It can be talking to my neighbor from across the cul-de-sac. There's lots of ways, reading a book, that I can provide self-care. And that kind of self-care, so it's not like a habit, right? The habit of self-care is there, or the overall general sort of habit. But these specific things that I do, I don't have to do one thing. I can do any number of them, whatever feels right, whatever I need for the moment. And I take it on and I do it. And I think that's today. What I need to do is I need to just go sit in the backyard and have a moment to myself. That's self-care. Might last 5 minutes, might last 20. And I do that, and that's helpful. And it also, what's interesting about self-care is it's also about expressing yourself. So expressing myself, I'm not doing anything great. I'm not very artistic. I write. I also sing goofy songs and do these little skits and fun voices and that I think are fun. Probably my partner thinks they're annoying. So I do that too. So it's a part of expressing who I am is part of my self-care too. And I have friends, really good friends that I can count on. They're part of my emotional flexibility. When I'm sad, they let me be sad. They don't tell me, Barbara, the silver lining is. Listen to Brene Brown. Nobody wants to hear about the silver lining when they're down. Nobody. It sounds arrogant and trite. What people want to hear is, I'm so sorry. It sucks. I wish I could help. Tell me more. Thank you for talking to me about this. That's what people want to hear when they're down. We don't need his silver line stuff, as Brene Brown says. And my friends don't. They also let me be happy and joyful and silly in the middle of all of this death and mayhem. They don't judge me for that either. So, flexibility. It's important to have it. Find it. Cultivate it. So that when we get to the other side of this, we are more resilient than we ever knew was possible. So good night for now. Be safe. Be good.